Hello, Jeff Green here, and today all eyes are on NVDA and chip manufacturers, I guess. So if you like these recordings, please subscribe and like. That'll help me out a lot. But let's check and see what happened to NVIDIA and where we think it can go from here. I'm not sure if it can go higher immediately, but let's take a look. So here's the weekly daily chart on the right, weekly chart in the center, and the monthly chart, as usual, on the left-hand side. So let's say in today's trading, we had a big boost at the open up here. That was a huge. That's a high of 974, which is very close to the predicted 1,000 that everybody was hoping for. And the trouble is with those sorts of predictions, they sort of might trip up a lot of people looking for a short term. But we really took a big hit today in NVIDIA. It came down 5%, on the day, and that's highly unusual for a stock that essentially has been in a parabolic curve ever since, the beginning of this rally back in November. You can see that's totally unsustainable on the weekly chart, absolutely unsustainable on the monthly chart. Something had to happen. If you look on the daily chart, we really haven't had a pullback at all, except for this minuscule day in here, right around earnings, which you really can't even call a pullback, really. So is this a blow-off top? Is this the end for NVIDIA, at least for this rally? Well, let's take a look at some things that concern me. First of all, we got double the average volume. That's a lot of people trying to get out. That's big institutions trying to get out. Now, I'm not saying that NVIDIA is going to go away or the demand for AI chips is going to go away, but there's a lot of professional traders looking to take profits here on this meteoric or unsustainable rise in NVIDIA. So that's a little bit of a concern. The MACD is sort of turning over a little bit. The on-balance volume has started down, but we still have this 53 ADX. So these sort of things take a little time to react. And looking on a weekly basis, we got a huge topping tail here. That looks to be about 2/3 of the total price move for the week. That's a big move down. Even though it was closed above the prior week with this gap in here. So we've got a green volume spike here on the week, but that really could be red. If it had just dropped a little bit more, that would have been a big down day. MACD's still up, volume's still up, and of course the ADX is still up. So what do I think is going to happen here? I'll tell you what I think typically happens in blow-off tops, and I don't know if this is going to happen with an NVIDIA or not. But typically in blow-off tops, you get this sort of movement that goes down like this, sometimes as fast as it went up. Let me just erase that again. Here's what my money would be betting. I would think that we might build some sort of a base in here. A lot of velocity back and forth. I think probably, if I put my guessing hat on, I think probably 75% will build a base here in this area. I think if you're a buyer looking to buy, you want to wait until it gets above that, out of this base, before you get back into NVIDIA. It could go straight down, like I just mentioned, from here down to who knows where, maybe this support level at the cloud. I'm thinking maybe 10 to 20% possibly it might do that. Will it go straight up from here? Anything's a possibility. I don't believe that's in the cards. If I was a betting man, I'd bet maybe 5 to 10% of that. So my money is on a base in here. So I'm going to stick NVIDIA back on my watch list. When we get above this 974 and everything else sort of seems to be normal, I might take on a new position. But we really need a pullback. We really need a lot of people to get scared, and we need to build a base that we can build from in the future. So that's what I think about NVIDIA. I'd be interested in your comments. Let's take a look at some of the other chip manufacturers in this space. Let's look at AMD. AMD is a highly followed stock. Let's see what's going on there. So again, we had this big down day, big spike, similar sort of things on AMD. I would think a base between here and here would be the logical conclusion. Let's take a look at TSM, which is another Taiwan Semiconductor building a huge plant just north of where I live here in the Phoenix area. That's sort of the same thing. It held up a little bit more, so it doesn't have as much of a topping tail, but it finished down on increasing volume. So I think a base sort of in this area might be a good possibility. One other chart I want to look at is the ETF, which holds many semiconductors. Let's see what they did, because this is a broad-based decrease in the chip manufacturers industry. Let me just get my pointer here. And sort of this sort of mirrors NVDA and the other chip makers. You got increasing volume, you got a MACD that's starting to turn down, you've got unbalanced volume that's down, and you've got clearly ADX, which is not increasing anymore. And this guy here is called a long leg doji, which is really indicates indecision on the weekly basis. And looking at the monthly, here's what stands out to me. I had drawn these two charts, maybe you've seen these before. This is the technically inexpensive line. If I could draw a straight line, I can't. And this is the technically expensive line. So this is where you'd ideally like to be selling. And I was watching a lot of these chip manufacturers as they went above this line. So I'm imagining it's going to come back down here, maybe lower as we talked about. But this is the sort of trend analysis that you want to watch for when you're getting into these sort of stocks. So I hope that helps. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.